Good day, fellow Jersey nerds, and welcome to episode 57 of the Jersey Nerds podcast, powered by HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. I'm your host, Ryan, and today on the Nerdcast, we're going to be talking about the Jets bringing back their throwback jerseys, last seen in the Heritage Classic, and we're going to be talking about the best and worst international jerseys in the past 20 years, and you can get in touch and talk about these topics with us on Twitter by tagging us at HockeyJC, or you can email the podcast anytime, podcast@HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. We'll, of course, be getting into fake or authentic today and the Throwback Throwdown. And what would a Jersey Nerds podcast be without our guest joining me on the Nerdcast today, Sundays Raider, Steve. What's going on, Steve?
Not much, just enjoying the new married life.
Yeah, and new house. How's everything going so far?
We're still working on the house. I almost have it finished, but it's an adjustment.
Yeah.
Now, having to share my life with someone. So, kids, make sure you find the right person, because it's worth every minute of it.
I've been living in my house for 10 years, and I'm still working on it, so it seems like a forever thing. That's a forever thing. Also joining us on the podcast this week, Thursday's writer, Shawn. Shawn, what's going on?
Not much. Rocking my starter Flames podium jersey. I bet the echo effect's going on right now, ain't it?
It very much is. I'm loving it.
Damn. I'm not keeping it.
Dang.
I'm not keeping it because I get made fun of after the podcast for it.
And during.
What?
And during.
Yes, and during. Yeah.
I thought I just heard Ryan say "and your" and then say nothing.
And your what? Anyways, so podium jersey, yeah, rocking it. It's a pretty solid jersey once you get a well-made version of it, especially the red one. I gotta say that I love the little chevron arm things, and most of all, I think it's one of the best jerseys the Flames have ever worn.
Oh no, I'm on the complete opposite end of that. I think it's probably it's the worst jersey the Flames have ever worn, and it's a timestamp of the 90s and just how terrible everything was during that era.
The Edge?
Yes.
No, absolutely not.
What?
We're gonna settle this after the podcast.
It's not, yeah. Well, it also sounds like this is a future podcast topic. But before we go planning more podcasts, let's not forget to introduce friend of the show, Bpoe. What's going on?
Just finished watching the Jets Pens game, Ryan. Now I'm recording a podcast.
There we
Terrible
go.
Game. What an awful game. You shouldn't have watched that game. Brought your mind.
Well, now you told everyone that the Jets played the Penguins, and they know that we are recording on Tuesday, the day the episode is supposed to come out. I ruined that, of course.
I mean, the episode didn't come out today, though, so it's not like they're suddenly gonna think that the episode came out today whenever they saw it didn't.
Everyone's heads are gonna cave in. This is awful. All right, so everyone's here. We're all accounted for, and let's dive into it. And our first topic, our first order of business today is talking about the Winnipeg Jets throwback jerseys that they're calling the Heritage Jersey this year. They're going to be wearing it twice, once on the road in Edmonton, and Edmonton's going to be wearing their Heritage Royal Blues, so that'll look kind of cool. And then once back home in February for their alumni night. This is pretty much a direct copy of what they wore for the 2016 Heritage Classic. The big change comes in the Adidas collar. It's no longer a 3-stripe collar. It's a solid red collar with the navy blue trim up top. But this jersey still looks fantastic. I can't get over how awesome this jersey is. It skyrockets to number 1 on my list now that it's coming back out. It's a 9.5 for me. There's nothing that I don't like about this jersey. You guys might have something different to say, but I am just in love with this jersey. It's being worn twice a year, so they're not overdoing it. I think it's just perfect, and I can't wait to get my hands on one. Steve, what are you thinking about this jersey and when you heard the news that it's coming back for 2 games this year?
I was so happy. And what I think Adidas improved on is the little things. Because if you look closely at the crest, they actually took the stitching from the style of the crest from back during the WHA days, and they copied it compared to when they did it with the Heritage Classic, and they just did their own style stitching. So I think going that extra step makes up for the fact that it's not a complete throwback because of the collar. So, but other than that, I've always loved this jersey. I've always thought that they've done a great job with this, the logo. I mean, granted, I'm a 90s child, so I still have memories of when the first Winnipeg Jets were in town. But nowadays, they could bring this back as an alternate, and everyone would love it. Granted, I'm not knocking the new alternate. It's great and everything, but this just resonates with fans so much more, and I think Jets could agree on that. So I say most definitely, and I look forward to seeing them play the Edmonton Oilers when 2 throwbacks, because this will be the first time in quite a long time a regular season would have throwback jerseys, if I'm not correct, instead of a special event.
Yeah, that's not an outdoor game. Yeah, you might be right there. Bpoe, just your overall thoughts on this jersey. Are you in love with it like we are? Or?
Oh, yeah, this is a beautiful jersey for sure. As we were talking about in our Slack chat, the only thing that bothers me a little bit is that red C. It's weird. It's all the numbers are blue, the logo is primarily blue, and then the C is red for some reason. I don't really understand that. It's just inconsistent. But I was thinking, too, and how perfect they're handling this, only wearing it 2 games a year instead of having it as their full-time alternate. And it kind of made me realize, too, why we have so many problems with these throwback alternates, because they're labeled alternates, and we're not necessarily expecting a throwback, and then they're all throwbacks. If the NHL told us we're going to just have a throwback line of jerseys, every team's going to have a throwback, every single one of them, I don't think we'd be upset with all of them being throwbacks, because that's what we were told.
Fair enough.
And I think Winnipeg is handling it greatly by literally labeling it as a throwback with their alternate jersey and wearing this one only a couple times a year.
I do have something to add, but once you reach Jets and you're finished.
Well, I know he's been patiently waiting, and I know Shawn wants to get in on this this Heritage jersey for his favorite team. So, Shawn, here's your chance.
It's not black, so it sucks.
Yeah. Stop feeding me my own jokes. Were
you actually gonna make that joke?
I was seriously gonna say. It's not black, so I hate it. So what I actually think about this jersey is, it's improved upon the original everywhere, and I gave that a 10 out of 10. I think the one thing, that was kind of interesting to see in this was that that WHA tri-collar style that they have on that. They don't have it on the Addy Zero, but the Addy Zero sort of improves upon it, I guess. Like, the colors are still there in a way, but it's not that thick ribbed material. So, I mean, I don't know, It's a one change that I'm not sure necessarily I consider an improvement, but it's more of a proof of concept.
It's probably, I don't know full on, but it's probably something that Adidas isn't willing to do right now. A 3-color collar, full 3-color collar. They probably wanted to cut it off, halfway like the Adidas collar does. Maybe a similar situation to when Reebok originally told Ottawa and other teams that they couldn't do horizontal chest stripes, right? And they ended up doing that. So maybe it's similar to this situation. Shawn, do you own the Reebok version or not yet?
I do. It's actually just sitting in the laundry hamper.
How dare you? How dare you wash it?
How dare I wash my jersey? It needs to be washed.
Remember,
kids, girls don't like stinky jerseys.
Jets' endless conquest to have a woman.
Endless. Ouch. Zing. But, okay, so, Shawn, seeing as you own the Reebok version, is there enough of a change here to warrant purchasing an Adidas version?
I'd argue yes. And in fact, I think that the real reason why yes is because the Addy Zero Authentic is such a better product than the Reebok Premier. But in all, if you have one, don't feel you have to get another. But if you want to see Adidas not mess up a jersey that they could very easily mess up, particularly with the collar and the yoke, then get it, because it proves that. Don't get the Edmonton one. That's the key thing there.
So, it sounds like we're all pretty high on this jersey. Might as well give a rating. And I'm throwing this jersey a 9.5 out of 10. Love it. Just love it. There's nothing terrible about it. So love this jersey. 9.5 out of 10 for me. Steve, rating.
I'm going to have to agree with you.
Bpoe, you got a rating?
Also going to go with a 9.5 out of 10. And I forgot to mention before, too, I absolutely love the chain stitching in the logo as well. Oh.
Yeah. Now, I feel like it was there for the Heritage Classic jersey. Maybe I'm wrong. So it was there.
That doesn't make it any worse than this one.
So, sorry, it was or wasn't there?
The chain stitching was there.
It was there for the Heritage Classic.
It was?
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
But on that one, wasn't it a felt logo or a faux felt logo?
No, it wasn't.
No, okay. All right. So
it wasn't like, how the Winter Classic jerseys up until, I think, the Montreal game, they were a higher quality.
Yeah.
It cost like $15 more and they were a higher quality, and everybody wished that was what you got instead of the Reebok Premiers. The Jets one is just a Reebok Premier, to the point where the event logo is that crappy Reebok Edge shoulder patch.
Ugh, sublimated twill, essentially, but cheaper.
Crap.
Yeah.
All right, now I do have a question.
Yeah.
Could this potentially be bringing back the NHL Vintage Series, where they had in the 90s, where all the original 6 were wearing the classic jersey for regular season games?
Oh, yes, my favorite original 16, the Winnipeg Jets, founded in 2011.
No, what I'm saying is...
founded in 1999. I recognize the Thrashers' history of the Winnipeg.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is, do you guys think that this is kind of like Adidas and NHL's way of testing the waters for doing another vintage series just during the season?
I think we're pretty much there, just without actually giving the program a name. Like, there's so many throwbacks.
Like, we're the only teams that don't have throwbacks at this point. It's like Nashville, San Jose.
Yeah.
Florida.
Like that they're wearing this season, you mean?
Yeah. Like throwback, faux-back.
It's minimal at this point.
Like,
Pittsburgh doesn't have one.
But their whole kit is a
Winnipeg.
Their home and road's a throwback.
Okay, I thought you just meant the alternates.
No, it includes, like, I think about teams that have gone back to previous looks. There's maybe 3 that have it, and it's like the Florida Panthers. Yeah, Florida, San Jose, Vegas, obviously. Who?
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay, yep.
I think
don't you know they're going ahead with the future of jerseys?
I think if there's going to be another vintage jersey program or throwback program, when they first did it, I think they contained it to January, February. Like it didn't stretch out through the whole season, and it was contained to 6 or 7 teams. I think it needs to be contained. If it's going to be an official heritage jersey program, it needs to be contained. Maybe see it once or twice a month. Limit the amount of teams each season that can do it. I don't think I'd want to see a team come out with a home and road version. Like, just give them one vintage jersey for the season.
I would. I'd allow for 2, but it'd have to be different. You know what I mean? Like, it can't just be the same set. Like, maybe
Have to be different eras.
What's that?
Have to be like a different era.
Exactly. So, like, if you're doing St. Louis, you have to. If you do the Glenn Hall era jerseys, you can't do the opposite version of that. You have to go to like the 80s ones or the Cujo ones or late 90s or something like that. You have to do that because I think that then A, you sell more jerseys, and B, you give people high quality replicas of those jerseys with modern players.
It would be an intriguing thing to do for this kind of setup. Have it go division by division. One year you have one division where each team in that division gets a throwback. Then the next year moves on to a different one. then the next year different one, then the next year different one.
I like
and
that
then
idea. Yeah.
By that point, it'll be back to the original division. That way you can get a lot of divisional matchups wearing the throwbacks. Hell, if you wanted to, you could even have it that every divisional matchup you wear a throwback. That might be a little bit overboard, but
I feel like that works.
Nice. It would be a little
So
change.
essentially what the Penguins and Capitals do now.
It's what the Pens, Caps, Oilers, and Flames, like, that's what they do.
Yeah. So I actually really like Bpoe's idea there with the going division by division each year. And it would build anticipation, like, oh man, next year, our year is coming up. And it would add just a little kind of extra meaning to the divisional game. So that'd be pretty cool. Let's go on to our next topic here. And I thought we should touch on the best and worst international jerseys of the past 20 years. There's lots of options to choose from. So I don't expect, let's just come up with one of our best options. It doesn't have to be the best, but one that you really enjoyed and one that you really hated from the past 20 years. And let's start with the best designs. And I'll be the old man who loves the simple classic design. And I'll go with the 2002 white Team Canada jersey. This was probably my favorite Team Canada jersey of all time. This had the big red stripes outlined in black on the hem and the arms, the current logo, and then kind of a two color, I don't know, call it a keyhole neck. It's kind of the 90s style collar on it. But that was definitely my favorite. Just love the simple look on it, and the numbers that they used on it was kind of like the numbers from the Black Sharks alternate of the same era. So I just thought it all worked really well. Really nice, classic looking jersey. So that's my best looking jersey of the past 20 years. Shawn, what do you have for your best?
I'm going to throw some love out to another Team Canada jersey. And I'm going to give it to the 2014 Sochi red jersey.
With the chest stripe going across.
The chest stripe, yeah. It's very much, again, it's one of these jerseys where it's a whole kit look. The pants and the gloves are included in it. But to me, it was one of the better minimalist designs I've ever seen. I love the maple leaf cutout in the chest. I think that's one of the greatest ideas they came up with for working around Olympic design rules. I like the amount of black that's used. I like that there's almost none on the jersey, actually, so it makes the gear stand out more and make it look like it has a purpose as opposed to just filling in the colors a little bit. And the other detail that I like is the gold medal counter with the little maple leaves.
Some of the elements were pretty cool in that jersey. I think the thing that took it down for me was the fact that the arm stripe only appeared on the left arm, which was just goofy, I thought. But it's still
correctly. Wasn't there a sublimated pattern in there?
They had it was almost like a screen print leaf coming out of the neck onto the shoulders.
It was like wasn't it like a rubberish type?
Yeah.
It was like what it's like what you would see in soccer. They printed like rubber screen print on it is the same color.
Yeah.
So like you saw it as a reflection, but
yeah,
I know the USA had that too, except it was stars. I'm not sure if any of the other teams that year had those.
Oh, in 2010, yeah, the USA had something similar based on what the
2014.
2014, I think Sweden had like Viking ship boats or something like that on theirs as well.
Yeah. 2014 they did do that with several jerseys because that was Reebok or Nike's thing at the time was, oh hey, let's do this.
All right, Steve, why don't you give us your best international jersey past 20 years?
There's a tie between the USA alternate from the 2010 Olympics and the white jersey of Canada from 2010. I think that year was probably the most successful year for Nike when they came out with their new template because they used an aerogram in the maple leaf, which was based off of, I believe, Inuit design for Canada. And they even used the aerogram. And for those of you who don't know what an aerogram is, it's that design within the maple leaf. It's the same color, so from a distance, it looks like a plain maple leaf, up close. So, anyways, but also I loved how Team USA went with a classic-looking throwback, but it worked so well on the modern template that it looked like a modern jersey, but it worked so well. So I think 2010 was a great year for the North American teams with the Nike jersey.
Yeah, that was a great looking jersey. Definitely, really enjoyed that alternate jersey. You could say it almost looks a lot like a Rangers jersey, but there's just enough elements on there that do kind of make it. You can definitely tell it's a USA jersey, and it's not like it doesn't come off as a Rangers copy. So it is a very cool jersey. Bpoe, your best jersey international past 20 years.
Well, my opinion is actually not much different than Steve's. My two runners-up are Canada's two Olympic jerseys from 2010. Just beautiful designs, but the black gear, especially on the white jersey, just isn't the greatest match. I think red gear would have been a lot better. And then my number one choice was that 2010 USA alternate jersey. And I know they've been using it in World Juniors and such since then. It's just a beautiful jersey. The colors are great. And the navy pants that they used with it, I mean, I understand why they did it from a logistics standpoint, and it's not the greatest, but it honestly doesn't even look that bad. No. Probably because the two shades of blue don't touch each other. It doesn't look that bad. It's not ideal, but it's not that bad. And another jersey that this actually looks a lot like, that Winnipeg jersey we just talked about. I just noticed that.
That's also true.
Right before I started talking about it.
Yeah.
It's the same blue, white, red, white, blue striping pattern with a blue yoke. Just royal blue and a square yoke.
They all come across those their own jerseys, though. None of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, none of them. So,
I mean, especially in the older days, how different of design did you really see?
Yeah, exactly.
There's only so much you can do with stripes going up and down a jersey.
No kidding. And that's what drives me nuts when people complain about some of the newer designs that it looks like this jersey. It's like there's only so many combinations you can do. So
I mean, it does. These jerseys do look similar, but they are different.
Yeah, they've made them their own, so they work.
They're right, but they're wrong.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the fun part now, and let's go with some of the worst designs of the past 20 years. And when I was looking around, I was drawn back to the same thing over and over and over again, and that was the 2006 Olympics, where Nike gave every single team, except for Sweden, the exact same template. This is the vertical stripes, like the 6-inch set of vertical stripes on the arms, and same on the hem. And every team looks absolutely terrible. I guess if I had to choose one team that suffered the most from this design, it would probably have to be Finland. I think they lost their navy blue except for on the collar with this design, but it looked terrible for everyone. And I think even in the 2006 World Championships, Sweden used a version of it and then never used it again. So anything from the 2006 Olympics was just awful.
You want to know something sad?
What's up?
Ireland still uses that design.
Oh, it's bad. I mean, it's really bad. I can't believe they still use it. Maybe that's a cost issue. They can't afford new ones. Steve, who's your worst of the past 20 years?
I'm ashamed to say it, but it's got to be Lithuania's most recent jerseys. And just to go on my little rant here, in about the past 10 years, they went from having a really good set. It was based off of the flag. They had the Knight on the Horse there, and then they went to red and black and white, which they looked like Latvia. And now they have a plain red jersey with the Knight on horseback, and they have a plain yellow jersey with the castle with Lithuania written in Lithuanian below it. They are sublimated jerseys, all sublimated, and they're just terrible. It's a shame because the entire thing is run by two former NHLers, Daniel Subris and Darius Kasparaitis, and you'd think they'd have the ability to come up with something much better, but it's like they need to come up with new jerseys, but no one had the time to make the design, so they just said, just throw the logo on a regular jersey. We'll go with it.
Okay, Shawn, your pick for worst jersey of the past 20 years.
All right, so I had to think long and hard about this one, and then I came to the conclusion that I was going to give the exact same answer as Ryan, and then he gave the answer. Yeah, 2006. Specifically, Team Canada. And the reason why is because even if you don't like something like the 2014 Olympic jerseys, they at least look Canadian. There's clear identifiers that this is a Canadian jersey. Even this year's Olympic jerseys got that right. But in 2006, they gave a striping pattern that really just looked like something out of the Roller Hockey International. I mean, oddly, if they had used the sort of 40s style maple leaf on the front of it, it could have worked. But without it, it's just stupid block flaunt from a stupid Olympics where Team Canada sucked. And that doesn't help it at all. A small runner-up, I got to give it to Team Canada's current World Cup or World Championship jerseys with the black yoke and the black arm stripes. Not a fan of that sublimated maple leaf pattern in there. There's no gold outside of the logo, to my knowledge, and that just doesn't work. And I mean, realistically, if you put a regular Hockey Canada logo on the Olympic jerseys, I mean, they're still crap, but they're not that crap.
Yeah. So I mean, I enjoy their World Championship jerseys, but I've heard a lot of people who do not like that sublimated maple leaf pattern in the shoulders. So that's really interesting. It looks what? Sorry,
sticky.
It's one of the things I like about it. So,
like what? That it looks sticky?
No. The pattern, not that.
I like how sticky my jersey is.
I enjoy sticky things every now and then. All right, Bpoe.
You messed up.
Bpoe, let's go to you and your worst international jersey of the past 20 years.
Well, I'm going to ignore this year's Olympic or this past Olympics jerseys. We already talked about those on a podcast. We know how bad those are, and I also forgot about the 2006 ones, which are which are definitely worse than these other two that I was going to mention. But my original pick in preparing for today was Canada's 2014 alternate, the black one with the red chest stripe, and that only went on to one arm for some reason. You guys know how much I hate black most of the time. This one just is one of those cases. I will admit the red looks nice on the black, but I don't think Canada needs to have a black jersey like this. It doesn't. It just says Canada. It doesn't even have a logo. I don't understand why they did that. The gold looks really nice. I'll give it that. But other than that, it's just I don't get it. I don't know why. I don't understand. And then, of course you do.
Of course you do.
But then my other pick that I actually saw in one of the Google images on that Canada 2014 jersey is their current black alternate from the World Championships. It's the one that looks like their other ones, except it's black with red stripes, and that's about it. Again, same thing. Black, it's drab. There's not much color on it, and it's just relatively plain and boring.
That one also has the sublimated maple leaf pattern, but that runs down the whole sleeve. So definitely a lot of terrible international jerseys, but they all seem to come from roughly the same era. So it looks like Nike does well, then it goes downhill. Then they do well again, it goes downhill. So
here's one that I want to bring up in particular. Look up Italy's dark jersey. Their current dark jersey, and I want to know what you think about it. So I'm going to describe it to everyone right now. It is a light blue jersey with a royal blue yoke with piping of the Italian flag, and it's covered in royal blue thin striping. It looks like a soccer jersey, but for some reason, it's interesting enough that it's completely different from any other hockey jersey you've ever seen. Well,
okay, wait, repeat the description again, because what I'm seeing, you said it was powder, is it like a light blue powder blue?
It's a light blue with royal blue thin stripes.
Okay, that's not the one I'm seeing. The one I'm seeing is like a light blue with like this weird paneling.
Weird paneling where the numbers were. So that's the old one.
Is this the one where the blue yolks
on the arms? I think is that the flag? I think.
Yes. No, not that one.
So is this the one with the blue yoke outlined in the flag, pretty much like a ribbon? Yes. A ribbon of the flag essentially outlines the blue yoke.
Yes.
And it just says Italia on the front in blue.
Oh. Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, one thing that I like about it is the little Italian chest stripe or the chest logo in the yoke. I like that. But you know what I don't like about it actually is that everything else works for me. It's that damn primary script looks awful in one color. It looks unfinished.
It looks like an old computer font or something.
It does. It looks like new Italia C31X.
It looks like there's pinstriping going on too, or something, or maybe it's just two different colors.
That is pinstriping.
Oh, good. Horizontal pinstriping.
That's horizontal pinstriping of royal blue on a powder blue jersey.
Yeah, that one qualifies for one of the worst. I mean, there's some effort.
It wouldn't be too bad if you got rid of those thin blue stripes and then took that yoke outline striping, put it on the hem and arms.
It's bad. I don't know if there's any saving this one.
Oh, you know what jersey you really can't save, I think. None of you guys can, but I like this jersey. No, wait, no. That was 20. Yeah, no, it was exactly 20 years ago. The USA Nagana jerseys.
Oh, yeah, the 98 ones? Yes, they were terrible. The mishmash, they were mostly gray. Yeah. Like, they didn't have a lot of blue. Yeah.
They were, like, arched with the silver.
It wasn't the nice one that was arched with the red. It was the awful one with the very slight arch.
And that was the Olympics where they trashed their hotel room. And I think they finished 6th or 8th or something.
You know who I blame? Tony Amonte.
And that's what they were coming off the 96 World Cup win as well. So interesting.
Which were great jerseys, but that's 22 years, so we can't.
Wasn't that like the worst thing to ever happen to Canadian hockey was losing to the USA?
You didn't watch. No, you didn't watch the World Championship where they lost to Kazakhstan.
Oh, but that contributed to it. So Canada loses the 96 World Cup. I think within a couple years at the World Juniors, they finished 10th and lost one of the kind of relegation game. It wasn't a relegation game, but they lost like the 9th place game to Kazakhstan. It was it was bad. And there was even summits held. Ken Dryden spearheaded. He's always spearheading something for hockey in Canada, but what's wrong with our game? Oh, and then they went on to lose the 98 Olympics in a shootout and looked really bad in the shootout. So, yeah, from 96 to 98, hockey in Canada, everyone was like, we suck. We got to change everything. And nothing.
But it wasn't even good in the 70s either because, after the 72 Summit Series, they had a 74 Summit Series, but they sent Team Canada's WHA team, and the Soviets spanked them into next week.
Yeah, they won like 7 games, right? WHA team won 0 games.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a tie in Toronto.
Yeah. So, and they don't talk about it because it's the WHA. Who, no Paul Henderson, none of that. It's like the Soviets just, I think that it was at that moment that the Habs sort of went, if we can get this Tretiak guy. Look that up. Look up. Do yourself a favor and look up Vladimir Tretiak's attempt to come to the NHL.
Wasn't he well, the thing was they were all part of the Army, so they had to be discharged from the Army to come play in the NHL.
Well, he had to defect, and they wouldn't.
You don't want to defect from the Soviet Union.
No, because... Well, I mean, okay, if you were on the team with Bobby Clark and Dave Schultz, maybe you would, because you got a couple guys to back you up. But I don't really see Guy Lafleur beating the shit out of a couple Soviet guards, GoldenEye style.
And on that note, we might as well get to Throwback Throwdown. We always have excellent segues into Throwback we always stay right on topic. It's fantastic. This week's Throwback Throwdown, sticking with the international jersey theme, we're going to go with the USA Olympic silver medal matchup. And we got the 2002 USA blue Olympic jersey going against the 2010 USA blue Olympic jersey. Now, I thought it was only fair that 2010 jersey did not use the USA hockey logo. So for your comparison, you are permitted to consider that jersey as if it did have the USA hockey logo. So let's look at 2002 jersey first. We're talking about the Navy jersey. This has the kind of red sleeves that begin with an arch. On those sleeves is a navy and white stripe. We have a thin navy cuff. The red arch has a white arched line in it. And the hem is a thin red and white stripe that actually cut off with side panels, but still a very good looking jersey. The 2010 jersey was the year of sublimation, so it kind of had a fiery American themed sublimated pattern going down the sleeves. The cuffs were a red, navy, and white stripe, and that repeated on the hem. This had a very interesting square collar, and the shoulder patch was a star made up of Nike swooshes. So very interesting jersey here. USA arched on the front, but again, for your review, you can consider this jersey if it were to have the USA hockey logo on it. So let's start with your thoughts on the 2002 jersey, Shawn.
Yeah, this is the USA jersey I think I first became familiar with, when I was really young. And it's the one, honestly, I think of when I think of USA hockey. I mean, that's just it. It's from a certain era. This was their jersey up until Nike changed the template to Swift for the 2006 Olympics. This was their jersey. And, you can think about some of the older World Juniors use the same jerseys. In the same way that the two white stripe Canada jersey is very indicative of Team Canada international play, this jersey is very indicative of U.S. hockey in international play.
Steve?
With this 2002 jersey here, I do like Jeff said, this was what they were known of prior to the Swift jersey. And I liked that it had the red in the arch over it. And it included the USA jersey and it had the extended horse collar. So that was all very quintessential early 2000s. And it worked. It worked really well. And really my only gripe about the jersey was the hem stripe because it didn't go all the way around. It stopped in the sides and it made no sense. So other than that, this was really it wasn't a great jersey. It wasn't like one that, oh my God, this is one of the best, but it wasn't a terrible jersey.
Bpoe?
Overall, this is definitely a pretty nice jersey. I love the amount of red on it and the amount of color on it, especially considering the primary color is navy blue rather than royal blue. It really is it's not, like Steve said, it's nothing amazing. It's nothing terrible. The only real gripe that I have with it is, again, that hem stripe. It's really not much of a stripe considering the way it cuts off, but I think that was just a Nike thing for God knows what reason. It's hard to explain the things Nike does sometimes, but if that went all the way around, it would be a very good-looking jersey as opposed to a decent one, I think. But it does definitely look like a product of the time, not necessarily in a bad way like the 90s, but it looks like something from the early 2000s.
All right, so let's move on now to the 2010 jersey. Again, you can consider this one if it were to have the USA hockey logo on it. Shawn, we'll start with you.
All right, here's a jersey you'd think I'd be familiar with, again, considering the fact that I watched a lot of that Olympics. Yeah, my opinion on it is that it's largely forgettable. Not bad, just forgettable. I think about this jersey, and really more so, I do believe that they wore white helmets with this. Yeah, I just remember that. I remember that was part of those years.
You would be correct.
What's that?
You would be correct. They wore white helmets.
Yeah, that was an interesting interesting non-proof of concept there. But yeah, overall, I just think that they were good, but just not great. And I'd honestly say that even with the USA Hockey logo, I think in some respects I prefer the 2018 Olympic jerseys to them.
I always thought the 2014 were pretty good too, with the big broad stripes on the arms and the stars on the yokes.
That was good.
I should have included that instead of 2010, but here we are anyways. Steve, what do you think of the 2010 version of Team USA's Olympic jersey?
Like I said, 2010 was probably one of the best years for the Swift jersey. The sublimated pattern, while it is kind of like roller hockey-ish, you couldn't see it unless you were up close. So it looked like a traditional jersey. It was simple, had simple striping, but it's effective, and it just worked overall. Now, the squared off collar is kind of strange to me. Not sure why they chose that, but it flowed well when you look at the jersey overall and you see how it's worn. The square collar flows well with it. It doesn't clash with it at all. Yeah, my only gripes are really that really weird shoulder logo and the questionable font that was used for the numbers.
All right, Bpoe, thoughts on the 2010 jersey?
I have to agree somewhat with Shawn in that this is kind of a forgettable jersey. I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't be if they'd won gold, but it's just as it is, it's somewhat of a forgettable jersey, which is weird because I also think the striping pattern on this one is much better than on the other one. However, it's really hurt by the fact that the striping on the arms is on the cuff. So whenever they're wearing it, you can hardly even see that striping. So it looks very plain. And unlike Montreal's road jersey, which if you've listened to the podcast before, you know I'm a big fan of, it doesn't have any sort of color or anything else up on the yoke to balance that plainness. And it's just, if you look at it with gloves on, it almost just looks like plain blue with a red and white hem. And that's, I think, what really brings this one down to forgettable level, and the logo. But again, we're looking at this for argument's sake with the regular USA Hockey logo on it, so I'm not going to count that against it. But just from the striping pattern in general, it's very forgettable but easily fixable.
Okay, it's time to choose a winner. 2002 USA jersey versus the 2010 USA jersey. I got to give this to the 2002 version. Shawn, who's your winner?
Yeah, I'm giving it to 2002. I think this is a jersey we will hopefully see in a throwback, honestly.
Yeah, it's due for a throwback. I could definitely see that. That could work. Steve, your winner here.
Gonna have to go with 2010, just because it was a little more classic of a style, and that's something that up until this Olympics, I thought the Team USA was trying to go for.
And Bpoe, you going to make this a tie, or does the 2002 jersey take it?
I'm giving it to 2002. But honestly, that if those arm stripes on the 2010 ones were actually on the arms instead of the cuffs, I would take that one, 100%.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. That would totally improve the jersey. So the winner here
is weird how such a little thing ruins it.
Definitely. Absolutely. That's a great point. The winner here is the 2002 jersey. And now let's move on to Fake or Authentic. Fake or Authentic. Fake or Authentic is the part of the podcast where I come up with 3 statements that I believe to be authentic, but it's up to the writers to determine whether or not they are, just like the jerseys you see around the NHL arenas, fake or authentic. Here we go. Fake or authentic, number 1. Those original LA Kings uniforms with the gold pants would be welcome in today's NHL. Shawn, fake or authentic?
Are you speaking as a new design, or like these jerseys never existed but were introduced this year, or if they brought them back full time?
If Adidas brought them back as an alternate jersey, complete with the gold pants.
Yes, I think that is authentic. People would welcome it back. Honestly, I think that the idea is intriguing, and it's one of those things where you just want to see it more than As we mentioned last week with the Tampa Bay jersey, you want to see this thing. Even if it's a train wreck, you got to see the train wreck.
Just got to see it. Steve, fake or authentic?
I'm going to have to go off authentic, just because it is an interesting concept. It's not a safe thing, and as you can see today, a lot of the teams are playing it safe, but being that this is a classic, I think it could be pulled off pretty well for a 1 or 2 night thing like a Heritage jersey. I can't tell you, though, that there is one team in the ACHA that does have, that could pull this, that could actually do this. It's San Jose State University, because they have yellow pants, yellow socks, yellow jersey, but they wear it with a blue helmet. Normally they just wear their blue pants instead, but they have, I know for a while, they're kind of getting yellow helmets as a alternate helmet, and they're doing an entire yellow.
Well, that would be cool to see. Bpoe, fake or authentic on this?
Authentic if it's not a full-time thing. I'm not sure people would take to it well if the Kings brought it back full-time. And I think that if the Kings brought back these jerseys full-time, aside from the yellow pants, I think they'd take to it well. But the yellow pants, I think they would take to it fine if it was a 1 or 2 time thing, or just not worn very often. But the jerseys themselves, definitely, I think would be taken well. The yellow pants, only if it's worn a little bit.
There we go. LA, Adidas, get on it. Yellow pants, yellow jerseys, socks, helmets. We want to see it. Here we go. Fake or authentic number 2. The Columbus Blue Jackets have the best non-block number font in the NHL right now. So we're taking out all the kind of classic standard block style fonts. Columbus has the best non-block font in the NHL right now. Shawn, fake or authentic?
Sorry to Columbus, but that statement is false.
It's not false or authentic. It's fake or authentic.
Well, exactly. Which is my point. Fake.
Fake. There you go. You got it. You got the handle of the game.
It's fake. We're not sorry. It's not synonym and synonym. It's fake or authentic. There's only one. There are only 2 answers to give in this. So the actual best font, I think, still goes to Winnipeg. I'm sorry. I love that side of a jet plane font that they use on that. I'm
talking. Hold on.
Ones.
Shawn, we're talking about numbers on the back of the jerseys.
Yeah.
What jet do the Jets have in their font?
No, they don't. I mean, like, it looks like the number style looks like you find them on the side of a plane.
Oh, okay. Pardon me. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. I mean, it's all good. I get why you'd think that. Yeah. But what I was saying is that it's really funny. It's a good question because how many non-rounded fonts are there? It's Winnipeg, Calgary, Columbus, LA, Anaheim.
Okay, I'm going to run down quickly the non-block teams here. Anaheim, Arizona, Calgary, Carolina, Colorado, Columbus. Still going on here. I guess LA is in there. Nashville's in there. Who else can we include in there? We're getting pretty blocky across the way here. Vancouver. I'll put Vancouver in there. Washington and Winnipeg.
So it honestly isn't that prestigious of a list.
But Winnipeg's your winner, and this statement is fake.
Hey, my winner. Right. Yes, Winnipeg is the winner.
All right, Steve, fake or authentic? Columbus has the best non-block font in the NHL right now.
I'm going to have to say fake. I think Colorado does a much better job.
Yeah, Colorado was close second for me.
No, there is no second to Colorado when it comes to non-block. You're wrong.
I'm wrong. Bpoe, fake or authentic on this?
Apparently, I am also wrong because I am 100% authentic on this one. The only other team that comes close to me is Colorado, and I think Columbus is just... It's a good combination of a block font and having it like a regular block font and having it their own unique twist on it. And it fits their brand perfectly, I think. It looks so good on their jerseys. It's so much better than the old one, especially. It's such an improvement. And with regular block fonts, it's hard to be too unique about it. Like, you have unique block fonts, like Toronto's especially is a block font, but I've always noticed the differences in it from regular block fonts, and it's just I love the uniqueness of it, but it's still a block font. And I would argue on that note that Columbus might even have the best font in the league, just because it's unique. It's kind of that combination of a more modern font that is also still block, like you see in sports all the time. So it's probably my favorite in the NHL. Colorado is a close second.
All right, if that's your favorite, that leads us into Faker Authentic number 3. The Calgary Flames have the worst number font, considering their home and road jerseys, in the NHL right now. Faker Authentic, Shawn.
I'm going to go with fake, and again, Calgary isn't that good, per se. But, yeah, Anaheim's terrible. I'm sorry. I am not a fan of that. If you want to do a rounded font, you had a good rounded font in the very late 90s and early 2000s. Use that font. I think that looked quite nice. This font looks so... It looks like every number has a cowlick on it, or a slight tail. It just doesn't look very good, and overall it might have worked with the original Edge jerseys, but on the current jerseys they just look too out of place and a little juvenile.
Okay, Shawn says fake, and Anaheim has the worst one. Steve, are you fake or authentic that Calgary has the worst font, or you have a different choice?
I am fake as well. I think the worst font is Vancouver. Vancouver's feels so outdated now. It feels like it's still stuck in the Edge era. And I can't see any other team. All the other teams that did in the Edge era and still have it around, like Washington and whatnot, they still work. It's just, I can't stand how some of it's thick, some of it's thin. And that's not a design aesthetic that works these days. And yet they still intend to shove it down people's throats. So, no, Calgary does not have the worst. Do I think it's worse now that it's not italicized? Maybe. But otherwise, just no, they are not the worst overall.
All right, Bpoe. Calgary, worst font in the NHL. Number font, fake or authentic?
Authentic, I think. This one's honestly a tough one. I'm looking through some of the least favorite fonts I have in the NHL right now, and I don't like Vancouver's because it just doesn't match the aesthetic, kind of like Steve said. I don't like Winnipeg's, but that's only because it's italicized. Other than that, it's fine. I don't like Anaheim's completely. I think it's okay, but it's a little bit iffy. I think it could use to be a little bit taller. I think LA's could use to be a little bit taller, but aside from that, it's fine. But Calgary's is just dated. I'm not a huge fan of the slab serif for the name. It just also has that dated look. It's hard for me to pick, but I'm going to say authentic just because the other ones at least have a little bit more redeeming qualities to them, I think.
All right.
Calgary just looks dated to me.
I agree. There we go. That's fake or authentic. And we have that every week on the Jersey Nerds podcast. That is everything that we have for you this week. Just a reminder, you can head on over to hockeyjerseyconcepts.com, hit the shop tab, and you can find the Jersey casual stuff up for sale there. Also going on is the Nashville Predators redesign vote. That's on the side of the page. It's a top 3 vote. And we also have the weekly concept of the week vote going on. That goes on every week. But of course, the results all lead to the concept of the year, which comes up at the end of the year. Actually, the vote really comes up at the end of January, but it's for the entire year. As always, want to thank Shawn, Steve, and Bpoe for joining me. And if you want to get in touch with us and talk about any of the topics we've touched on this week, you can do so on Twitter, tag us at HockeyJC, or you can email us, podcast@hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. And we also want you to like, download, subscribe, share the podcast with your friends. Helps us out and spreads the word, especially sharing with your friends. Get some people listening to this thing because as we go along here in the future, definitely plans to kind of expand the HJC podcast network. So We get more people listening, and the better we are able to do that. So, again, thanks everybody for joining. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you all next week.